When Carol was 10, she was diagnosed with a heart problem that would inevitably lead to a heart transplant or death. The last 5 years had seen so much change. She had gotten very weak, and she and her family had to move from their tiny hometown to Dallas so they could be closer to the hospital. Her life had turned into a nightmare of hospital rooms and being locked in her house. She missed school and friends and family vacations. Carol lay in her hospital bed watching through the glass as her parents talked to the doctor. Their faces looked grave. She knew this time it was bad. Really bad. Her mother walked in a few minutes later, eyes red, tears still wet on her cheeks. Her father came in behind her. They gave her the news she had already figured out. There would not be another trip home this time. She had to have a transplant. The days after were a medicated blur, but on a cold Friday night in October, her world would change. The doctor burst into her room. They had a donor heart. The transplant would happen tonight. Carol recovered so quickly that even her doctor could not believe it. It seemed so meant to be. By the spring, she was so much stronger that her parents even took her on a short beach vacation, and the doctor cleared her to start school in the fall. On the 1-year anniversary of her transplant, a package arrived in the mail. Inside the package was a letterman's jacket with a simple note that read, "Greater love has no man." She had no idea who it was from, but the moment she put it on, she felt whole for the first time. She met a boy, and they quickly fell for each other. She was strong enough now that her mom would let her walk home on nice days. One day, she took a different route, and she saw a small white home that stopped her in her tracks. It called to her. It felt like home. From across the street, she could smell the roses that bloomed in the front yard if she closed her eyes. She walked home that way every day from then on. She started to notice little things that she used to love to eat no longer tasted the same. And some things she used to hate, like milk, she now craved. She wrote it off as side effects of the transplant, or simply growing up. One day at the community art fair, she had seen a woman that looked so familiar. She followed her for a bit, and finally decided she would just say hi. When Carol spoke to the woman, her face went ashen, and then she burst into tears at the sight of the letterman jacket Carol was wearing. The woman grabbed her into a tight hug, then turned to her husband, burying her face in his shoulder, sobbing as they walked away. Carol thought that was extremely strange, but everything was starting to feel odd lately. Places she had never seen before felt like home. People she didn't even know seemed familiar. Even her boyfriend seemed like she had always known him, even though it had just been a year. Carol lived in the Letterman's jacket the entire time in high school, and on graduation night, she grabbed it and slipped it on. As she put her hand on the pocket, she was shocked to find a photo that was not there before. It was a picture of the White House. In front of it stood the woman from the art fair, her husband, and 2 young men. One of the young men was her boyfriend, and the other one seemed familiar, but she could not place it. She turned the picture over, and on the back, in big, bold print, were the words, "Together forever. I gave you my heart."